We will get started in about 2 minutes. All right, welcome everybody to Stock Analysis Friday and happy day after Christmas. Hope everybody had a great holiday. And now next is New Year's. And we will be here on the day after New Year's, which is Friday. So Stock Analysis Friday will be here next week. All right, let me jump in, get organized here. And let me go through some of the administrational items here, and then we'll go ahead and get into your stock picks. All right, first thing I want to do, of course, is the presentation disclaimer, just to let you know we're here for educational purposes, and any suggestions or recommendations that we do here, please run those by your financial advisor to be sure they're suitable for you. I don't know your personal situation, and they certainly should, so they have the final say. Always trade with risk capital, money you can afford to risk in the markets, and also know how to do risk control on each and every trade, because we deal in a realm of probabilities, not certainties, when going into the markets. So always trade with risk capital as well. All right, get that knocked out of the way. Next thing are a couple books that may be of interest to you, especially our ones on money management. But I also have my new book that came out this year, The Art of Trading, 2nd edition. Great book, 608 pages, covers everything. So if you want one book that covers risk control, our trading strategies, market profiles, and things like that, The Art of Trading is a book for you. And then I have my others as well, and those are available at Amazon. And we'll put a link in the recording if you're watching that or you want to come back for that. But also, too, there's links on the website, and Gene will pop a link up there probably before the end of the session today as well. Same thing with the software. If you're interested in this software, we'll put a link at the bottom there. We use the applied reality trading software. You'll see that, excuse me, along with the OWL, PTF, TLM indicators, and ERI. And we also have scanners and risk control software as well. All right, and give us a like here. All right, it helps the channel out. And just a few more announcements here real quick. If you're interested in market forecasts and stock picks, that's what the MOR report's all about. Again, Jeannie will put a link in there, and also, too, we'll put it in the recording if you're interested. And also we have now a Saturday trading education workshop. This has replaced our client support workshop. So it's the second Saturday of each month. So we'll kick it off in January as well. And it's free and it's on Saturday. And we start at 12 noon Eastern time, which is 9 a.m. Pacific time. Love to have you there. So we like to invite everybody. And if you're on our mailing list as well, you already know about that. And you already know about our advanced price action course that we have out. And it's all about price action. You'll see me use some of that today as well. All right. And that's kind of it wraps up the announcements. Let's go to the charts now and get started here. All right. So let me bring that down. Let me also bring up the pointer here. So give me 1 second to do that. And then we will be good to go. All right, let's hit it. All right, so let me start out. I'm going to start out with gold just because I usually get asked about gold. And one of the things about gold here is we're approaching the target here. Hopefully you've been in it for a while. If not, you're probably better off at this point since we're getting close to a fairly short-term, well, I would say intermediate term target on the chart on the left. So just a recap here, this is the daily chart here, and this is the weekly chart. That would help if you knew that. And so basically we're in a very strong wave 3 still on the weekly chart, right? So we got more highs coming. But there are 5 waves in a wave 3, and that's what we're tracking here on the chart on the left. So we got a 3, looks like a 4 here, and 5. So when we get to this target, that should be the top of wave 3 over here. So that's kind of what we're thinking on that. So we're kind of close, all right? So to go in here, yeah, you may get a little bit more juice out of it to the upside, but the risk now is for the reversal correction, which is profit taking, before we get another new high, all right? So I do think we'll get that. I mean, I do think we are kind of in the midst of a major move, but I do think we're going to get a wave 4 on that weekly chart at some point, and then another high there. So that leads me to believe I'm not going to recommend it right now because we're so close to the top of possibly a wave 3 on a weekly chart, wave 5 on a daily. So, you know, if you are in it and you want to take some profits, you know, you can use the pyramids, you can use a target up here, you can use a trend line, you can wait for the PTFs to go yellow here, down here, indicating that if they're going into a neutral stance on the trend. And at that particular point, take profits then if you're long. But I wouldn't go in yet, okay, right now. Wait for the sell-off, and I think you'll be better off later on. All right, Ed, let's start with you. You're the first one on our list. All right, all potential buys. So he's got 3 up here. Let's dig in. All right, MP is our first one. We'll take a look at that one. All right, so MP, we looked at it before, and one of the things about MP is that, you know, it reached a high, pulled back. So again, this is kind of what could happen with gold. Remember I said gold kind of looks like this right now, but this is what could be the potential profit taking that is in store for gold as well at some point. All right, so we're seeing it on MP. And at this particular point, we don't quite have a bottom yet defined. We don't have a break necessarily in structure yet because it looks like I'd like this to go back up here. So let's do this, Ed, for this one. Let's take a look at here. We've got a small, very teeny bearish fair value gap. All right, let's get above that before we start initiating any particular buy signals on this. I think the fact that it filled the gap here, this bottom held, if we can get above here, and that may happen in the next week or so, that would be a definitive indication for a reason to buy. So let's wait for that, and it looks pretty good. Then we can target the top way up here. All right, so I think that would be a pretty much 100% return on your money. So while this one's close, Not quite. So let's put that down as an MP, as a watch list item for next week. So please bring that back, okay? Because that's close. TEM, let's take a look at that one. All right, so this one is not as promising as MP simply because it's still heading down. We have a red PTF now this week. We have the pyramids here. I don't want to go against those quite yet. And we got one that may form here. So let's hold off on this one. And again, for right now, we got a couple things we could do here. We could just run a trend line, something like that. All right, and you could certainly do the same thing on the weekly chart over here. So you kind of want to make sure you don't go in long until we have things improve. And one of those things is that bearish PTF on the daily and also the red owl. So let's put that one on hold, but that one's not as good as MP. MP looks like it has earlier potential. All right, ALAB. All right, so this one here, this is kind of neat here. On the daily chart, check this out. See these two pyramids here, both blue color? So I have my unconfirmed pyramid set up to show blue. You may have yours at home there set up to show yellow. That's the default color. But in any case, what that's doing is it's taking the range, the channel, and bracketing it for you. So if we pop up here, you'll get a pyramid bullish. If it pops down here, you'll get another red one for a continuation to the downside. So it's kind of neat. So you stay out of the market for the most part until we get one of those popped open, okay? And what I would do is, in terms of what I think is going to happen, well, here is where price action comes in. And in other words, what do we have down here? Fair value gap, right? Bullish. Okay, we had really nothing, maybe a teeny one down here that we got above, but that's a good sign. We had a break in structure back here. All right, then it pulled down. This bottom held. So we had another move up here. That is a good sign. That could be an order block area down in this area here. We got a green PTF, green owl. The weekly chart has green owl, green PTF. So we've had a nice move to the downside. All right. And we kind of want to see a pop above here. I'd wait for the pyramid at this point because at this particular area here, it could channel a little while. But the fact that it closed, basically we got a bullish fair value gap, that's a really good sign. I'm going to draw the encroachment in on that because basically, and enlarge that a little for you. So it's not inconceivable, in fact, probable that we could come down into here, okay, and see that that holds and comes back up and pops that pyramid bullish. That's a long trade. That's a very, very high probability long trade. So again, out of all three of yours, ALAB, which is this one, and MP are really good. Let's hold off and wait for that pyramid to pop, okay? So that's a potential. We'll put that on the watch list for now. All right, thank you. All right, James, put the links up there for you guys. You can check out the chat. All right, Kumar, how are you? All right, for long, watch list, NVIDIA. Let's check out old NVIDIA here. We all know NVIDIA for their video cards, but they're also big into AI, okay? All right, so NVIDIA, if you look on the weekly chart here, NVIDIA has hit its target up in this area here. We've got some bearish divergence here, all right? But we still have a green owl. And we technically have a green PTF here. So again, this PTF has a high probability of accuracy, and basically how you use it, for those that are new, is that when it's green, take the highest price in that green area, which would be in this case up here, and there's a high probability we're going to return and take that out. So the trend up is not over yet, according to that indicator. If we look at the Fibonacci extension target, we have not hit that yet either. So now we have two variables on the daily chart here that are indicating the top has not quite been put in, okay? So with that said, all right, we're probably maybe at this point easing its way up there. Let's take a look at price action and see now if that can help us. So I'm going to just erase this. And this, you'll see how this all ties in together. So here our bias is bullish still. Okay, our bias is bullish. That's step one. You have to know your bias first because that's your targeting. Okay, so the bias is bullish, so I'm looking for longs, not shorts. And so any pyramids that show up to the short side, I'm probably not going to take them. All right, because my bias overall is long, and you get that from the longer term charts. You get that from the indicators I just talked about and so forth. Now let's see what price action has to say. Well, looky. We got a bullish fair value gap. We got another one in here, a couple of them, right? So that's indicating at this, when this bottom was bouncing off the bottom, we had no, basically we had no, except for this one here. No, we didn't have any bearish fair value gaps on this leg down. Okay. That's important because that indicates that there was no institutional selling coming in, more buying. So that whole thing could be an order block to the downside. We had this bottom hold, this pop here, institutional buying there and there. Now, that doesn't mean it can't pull back into these fair value gaps. In fact, it probably will. And that may be a better place to have your buy trade set at, okay? But this looks good for one more high. I would target this high here. And if we hit that target, I would move my stop to break even and then move it up accordingly to the bottom of new value gaps that form that are bullish when we hit the target. So at this case here, I would put this in as a buy, okay, NVDA, with a target around, our first target around 212. All right, you want to put your stop down here enough around 174. All right, so you got a little bit of a 1-to-1, and I take half your position off at this target and keep the other half on for higher prices into this target and move your stop to break even at that point when you reach your first partial target. Okay, that's how I would play that. All right, so that's NVIDIA. All right, good one. All right, let's see some more here. Apple. All right, so Apple we looked at last week, okay? So we had a bullish one here where prices closed below, but then reversed. Let's see if we have, let me get rid of this here. That was from a while ago. All right, so now we have a bearish fair value gap here. We hit that a little bit, and now we bounce down. And we have a green PTF, pretty strong owl. We came down and filled this fair value gap here totally and went down into the order block a little bit. So I think probably at this point here, we've got to take a look at it. See, we're in uncharted territory on these tech stocks. In other words, the next high is the next all-time high. So in terms of sweeping equity and helping us that way, we're on our own. The only equity to sweep is the high. Okay, after that, it's no man's land, so to speak. So then you've got to use other forms of trailing stops to keep you okay. All right. So my thinking is do not go long until we close above this fair value gap. We need a strong close above it because it could sell off one more time if they've respected it. So far they have. So don't go long on this yet. Again, this is where price action can help you. Plus we got a bearish pyramid here, okay? So if we get above here, you could go long, or you could wait until you get above the pyramid and neutralize that. That might be a better thing to do. But then your first target is the high, okay? So you don't have much room. So I'm not crazy about this one, okay? But if it sells off even more, I might get a little more interested. So I like NVIDIA better, okay? Silver, gotta love silver, right? So I have many, many clients happy with silver. Trust me, we got in it when it had a pennant breakout. All right, so silver here is just taking off. Notice when we looked at it before, we had a order block here. We were waiting to get above it again for a long trade. So that was good, but look at this. Very strong, very strong. All right. So the dilemma is, if you get in now, are you chasing this market? Yeah, you are, okay? Because the smart money's been in already, okay? So at this particular point, you don't want to be the dumb money. And the thing is with this is that you've had a significant market maker buy model right here kick in, right in this area here, okay? So that's another open area where it took off after that. So I'm a little reluctant to recommend this because it's due for a pullback, and I'd rather get in on the pullback if you're not already in it at this point. So no go on that, okay? Right now. And yeah, it could go higher without a doubt. But at this particular point, I'm starting to draw in the fib retracements in case it starts to reverse at some point. But you just remember Bitcoin, okay? Remember how that took off and then it retraced quite a bit. I think this will happen with silver and gold at some point, okay? May go a little higher, but you just don't want to get caught. Wait for, you got to be patient and wait for the pullback. And then I think you'll be happy because you'll get some more highs after that. So there's no question that silver is bullish. It is bullish, but it's the party could end at any time. All right. So RKLB. Remember, the smart money or the institutions are getting in the discount area and liquidating in the premium area, and in silver you're in the premium area. All right, so let's see what we got here. All right, so we just took out this equity here. Not a whole heck of a lot of history on that. Okay, we have a fair value gap here and here. This concerns me that we took out equity up here. Could it go higher? Yeah, but we're starting to see bearish divergence in the owl on the weekly chart. And even though this is looking pretty good, maybe one more high on this and we'll take this out and then it will come down. So I kind of think wait for the pullback on this, or wait for a possible short. Okay, I think maybe one more high on this before we get a shorting opportunity. Okay, and Lulu, next one. All right, on this one here, let's see what we got cooking here. All right, so we've had a nice pullback on this on the weekly chart. All right, we have equity sitting down here at the red line that they did not take, which concerns me. I'd rather have them take that. They don't come down here for nothing, okay? Plus we have a reversal possible bar here. We did get above here, did take out change in structure here a little bit. And so now we have here. This is a little bit of a tougher call for one reason, is that we didn't take the equity out here. Okay, if we took the equity out here, I'd be all over this. But I'm concerned here because we have some very, very large bearish fair value gaps still sitting on that weekly chart. So we have one here. Now we could go up there. So you could still make 80 points and get up there. So that's not a bad deal, right? You have another fair value gap sitting under that. They targeted that and then it sold off. Okay, so that kind of got mitigated a little bit. So let's remove that one. And then you had one here that so far has not closed above it. Wicks I don't care about. Wicks are manipulation. So, wicks, it means something. It means that they filled all the orders but didn't have follow through to the bullish side on that. So that's so far been respected. I'd like to see a drop below that for a possible short, but then again, you have a fair value gap here, so you'd have to even go below that. So I don't trade this. I would not trade this. I would look for a long trade, but there's some problems with it. The pyramids had you in early enough. If you wanted to take that on the green owl, you could have. Your stop would be here, but now we're up in this area here. So it's a little bit, it's a little bit iffy. We got a gap here. So there's enough things to put the brakes on here for me that I would hold back a little bit. Now, if it strengthens from here and we start to see some price action that indicates that, then a long trade will be good. All right. The main thing that's holding me back is this equity not being taken, because that's where all the stops are. So why didn't they take it? Okay, they may be engineering another area down here for people to go long and put their stops right here. All right, then they take those and go get those. So I kind of don't like that. A little weary on that one. Sorry. Okay. All right. TGIF is not a stock. That's, thank God it's Friday, right? Okay. All right. Okay, let's see. Okay, Kumar's already in silver. Just have to set profit targets. Okay, hopefully I helped you that. All right, and RKLB was an IPO this year. All right, so there's that one. All right. No more? That's it? Boy, everybody must be on holiday. Going once, going twice. Feel like I'm at the auction. All right. Did I miss anybody's? I think I got them all. Good. Bill's got one here. MU. Let's take a look there. All right. Okay. So once again, another tech stock. All right, reaching up into the stratosphere. So the question is, who's left holding the chair, right? When it's all over. All right. So again, Bill, I don't know if you're long in this already. If you are long, I would just move your stops up under like where this pyramid is or this low here. Just keep them kind of tight in case you get some type of profit-taking wave coming in. Okay. I don't think I would go long here. It's just too extended. I wouldn't even be able to give you, I mean, we've had the hook and we got bearish divergence here. Okay. So we're kind of in that area 3, 4, we're in 5. All right. So we may have one more leg up, but 320 maybe right around there on it. But again, we just had a yellow PTF here. We have yellow here. So the PTFs aren't targeting anymore. So I I think, if you're in it, great. Just hang tight, put your stops fairly tight on the daily chart and enjoy the ride, so to speak. Okay. All right. Ed is back with TOST. See what we got here. Okay. So this came out. This is fairly new as well. And we don't yet have enough change yet for me to issue a buy on this here. I'd like to get above some of these points here, and there's no PTF to help. We got a red owl on the weekly, and we may be getting a turnaround here. There is a possibility of a turnaround. We took out equity here. That was good. Trying to see if we have any fair value gaps. Had one here. This would have been, no, I don't think I would take that one until we broke equity up here, broke structure. Because we had one fair value gap here, just a little one. Okay, and then we had a reversal bar off that. But we broke equity on that reversal bar, came down, we broke equity again. So it's kind of, we have a dominant pyramid still in place, bearish. So I think we need a little more follow through on this. Okay, we got a lot of wicks on these bars. So it's kind of a little bit of apprehension. It is moving up. I'd like to see it break structure on the weekly chart before I get excited about it, and it hasn't done that. So that means we'd have to get up around 40, or in other words, above this pyramid. Let's wait for this pyramid to get taken out that's bearish, because that is a break in structure on the weekly chart. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. And that was a potential buy, right? Let's take a look at this one, CMG. For Kamal, let's see what we got here. Okay, so we looked at this one before, all right, and we're marching up. We had drawn in a huge fair value gap, okay, on the weekly chart. And since then, we've been marching up, and we've kind of got the point of encroachment set there, but we haven't really seen any rejection on that. It's just been marching up. We got a red PTF here. And let's see if that stays red or turns green. We had a bullish pyramid here. Probably would not have taken that because of the red PTF, even though the owl had turned green. So we had one confirmation with the bullish owl and the pyramid, but also we had a red here. And we, are filling this huge gap here, which is this gap over here. So at this particular point, if this thing is now in a trend up, all right, the ultimate target is going to be here at that top, and also partial here. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking at. You've got a bullish fair value gap here off the bottom. That's good. If we can get above this area here, that looks to me like that'll be plenty of time for you to make a ton of money to this partial and then this target up there. So let's bring this one back next week. Okay, I'm not quite ready to issue a buy on that for a couple of reasons. Red PTF, if that turns green, that's good. We got to get above here. We don't have any major change in structure yet. That's the problem. So what does that mean? Well, we've got minor change in structure. That's why the pyramids form. But we got to get above this pyramid here on the weekly, because right now all you see is a trend line down. You can draw the trend line. Even you can draw it here. Okay. You've got a trend line down that's being broken, but no change in structure. In other words, I want to pull back and another leg up on that weekly chart and take out that pyramid, and then that will look better. Okay. So for right now, let's put this is a good one to put on the watch list, because It may be close, okay, but not quite yet. All right, good. Okay, Constance is here. Hi. All right, T. Let's see. All right, so this one has gotten a nice pullback here. We don't have the downtrend officially over yet. So, at this point here, in terms of long, I would not do a long here yet. If you're short, all right, you still have a downtrend technically in place that could be ending, but it's too early to say, okay? You have a fair value gap here that's bearish that may act as an area where, let me just draw that in, prices go up to and then reverse back down one more time, okay? In terms of any type of fib retracement area here, okay, that even would make sense for one more move down into that area and finding support right around this structured level here, okay? So no long on that, okay? VZ. All right, notice how on the weekly chart here, this fair value, bearish fair value gap here is respected so far, okay? Might even be a consequence encroachment inspection. Let's just move that down a little bit neater, okay? And then go up here and grab this. All right, so that was respected nicely there, close below. So I'm trying to see if there's any other fair value gaps down here. There's a little one here and close below it. I think maybe at this point we did break structure here, broke it again. Be interesting to see, but it looks to me like it'll take this low out again. Okay. So, and you got equity down here as well. So, this is the main equity here. Think about where the retail stops are going to be there. If people thought this was a bottom and they're trading up now here, where's the next retail stop area? Here. Okay. So if they take this out and this out, they get quite a few, they get, a lot of equity there. Okay. So I would like to see them take one of these out and then see a reversal, especially this one. See a reversal, sweep the equity here, and then see a reversal with a fair value gap, bullish fair value gap right after it, after an order block. Okay. So I would hold off on that one. Okay. Now, long-term holdings. Okay. Long-term, do you care what's going to happen in the next month? Probably not, right? Okay. All right. So, let's see. USAU. If you're using something for a hedge, well, it may not work until the market does what you think it's going to do, right? All right, which means it's like an insurance policy. All right, so here is USAU, question mark long from Al. Hi, Al. All right, so we got a pyramid here. Now, where was the smart money? Where did the smart money go in? Well, first you got to wait for a change in structure. Okay, that would have been a high above this point here, right? All right, so you got that over here. Okay. Nice fair value gap that was respected here, but you didn't have a change in structure really. Okay, major change in structure, but here you did. Okay, and the pyramids caught that as well. And then notice here, you have a fair value gap forming here, right there and there. And basically, then you had that taken care of. here, bounce off here, and off to the races. So that's where the smart money is. Anybody getting in now is probably at this point here the dumb money. Okay, so you don't want to do that. All right, wait for the next retracement. Okay, you know the markets depend on retail traders getting FOMO, fear of missing out, and jumping in late, because those are the ones selling to the smart money. All right, so think about that. Okay. All right. And Al, thank you. Same to you. Merry Christmas to you. All right. And Kumar, thank you. Same to you as well. Okay. I know you have a coaching session still left, Kumar. So, feel free to schedule that when your time permits. Okay. All right. Let's see what else we got here. I think I got them all. I'll give it another minute here. Good session today. So basically, what we have here is NVDA. That was the one we liked the most. Okay. On the watch list, we got MP, ALAB, and CMG. Okay, so that's kind of it for that. All right. And I think that may be it. All right, well, let's wrap it up. Okay. So anyway, I want to thank everybody for coming. Good session today. All right, for day after Christmas, not so bad. All right, so next week, Happy New Year to everybody, and we'll be back on Friday. I'll put a little music on, and enjoy the week. Have a great time with your family. Safe travels wherever you go. Whoop, I got one more coming in. Hold on. All right, Gene says I missed. Let's see. PLTR. I sure did, didn't I? PLTR. How did I miss that one? Okay. Let's see here. Oh, I got another one after this. Okay. All right. So let's see what we got here. I don't know if you want to be long or short here. If you're already long, you can hold it. If you're thinking about a long, I would hold off. Okay. On this one. Probably maybe another nut high, but at this point here, you're not the smart money, okay, for a new entry. WMT. All right, notice we had the pennant on the daily chart. That was hit. That was okay for an entry there. And now it's run up. We no longer have a green PTF available. So at this particular point, you see all these stocks are in new territory. Okay, they're all in new territory. So kind of difficult to get a feel on where this is going to go in terms of the next pullback. That's the issue right there. Okay, so draw that up there. If we do a analysis on this wave up here, all right, let's just remove that for a minute and do a fib extension. And let's see what we want to do. I think we want to pull it from here to here to here. So you're almost right at the target already. So just a little too late on that one. And then UTI. Okay, this one's pulled back. We got a green PTF. We still got a red PTF over here. Okay, so we're in a huge fair value gap on, you can see it on the daily and the weekly here. So if we draw that out from here, all the way down here, you can see that. Okay, so the question is manipulation bar when it's that big or not. Okay, and I would say at this particular point, you have a green with a red PTF over here. I'd like to see this green. Okay, we've got a fairly nice fair value gap bullish here inside there. Okay, that was respected. So let's wait and see if we can get above here. Okay, above this area here. We can get above here on a high close, then that may be a signal we're going up to new highs, okay? All right, so you can put this on the watch list as well, UTI. UTI. All right. All right. Ed, you're welcome. Thank you. You guys are what make this a great session for sure. All right, let's see. Constance KMI. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay. All right, so on this one here, no go on this one, okay, at this particular point. Kind of range bound. Kooky range too, pretty big, okay? So what I would do maybe on this, draw a pennant maybe, and see, wait for a breakout from that, okay? Green PTF, so it's looking fairly good to the upside. Got a little bit break in structure here, and we have a fair value gap in here. But it's definitely ranging, so we need a breakout from the range, okay, before committing. All right. Okay, so this is that one I missed. Gene, for some reason, the system held the post. Yeah. Oh, okay, good. So I didn't miss it. I guess it held it. All right, good. All right. Ed, let's see here. MOS for you. Let's take a look at this one. All right. So MOS. Green PTF, but it's been green for a long time. See, that's the thing about the PTF. You still have to use price action and other forms of strategies or approach. You just don't use it blindly. But because, if the trend is down and you have it green, well, it's telling you that eventually after this trend down is done, it should go up here. But it's not telling you when, and it's not telling you how much of a pullback you're going to have. So it's a great indicator, but if you're getting a buy and it's green, well, that's good. But if you have a bunch of bearish pyramids that are in force, in play, and it's green, well, you got to wait, okay, until the pattern changes before you act on it. All right, so in this case here, we had a run up here, a run down here. Let's see what we got cooking here. Boy, look, that ran all the way up and all the way down. And that is, I have to scratch my head more than 20 seconds. I usually choose another stock, but let's see what we got here. So this was a fairly robust move up. Came down and then further down here. So I don't think I would do anything with this right now. All right. All the bearish pyramids on the daily have been taken out. If anything, you would have had a profit on the pyramids here. But you got a pyramid here. And I like that because until that pyramid gets taken out, you really don't have a change in structure to the upside, right? So let's wait and see what happens with that pyramid, okay? So no go on anything here until we get a reason to go long on that daily chart, okay? All right. Nisha, thank you very much. Okay, let's see. Anybody else? Going once, going twice. Good group today. All right, so NVIDIA, I think, stands as the best one we saw for today, right? I'm going to go back to that for a minute because that was a while ago. All right, so NVIDIA was marching up off its pullback. Looks like one more high on this, and we have a green PTF on the daily, and we've got some bullish fair value gaps after the move, and this bottom held here. So that looks pretty good here. Again, I think if you want to be super safe, wait for it to get above the pyramid. I think that's kind of what we were thinking about on that, maybe. Okay. But if you want to take an early entry, you could do it because it was respected the bullish fair value gap so far. Okay. All right, cool. And that's not a bearish fair value gap here. So, okay, so that's kind of it. So this was the best one for today. Oh, we got a couple more. Hold on, hold on. We've got new, NUE. And who is this from? Al. Good. All right, long on this one. Let's see what we got cooking here. Long with a question mark. Okay, so I assume, Al, you're not in this one yet. Okay, so on this one here, you've got some equity sitting here on both the weekly and daily charts. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. You also have got an order block above that. You've got an ABC, okay. As a note, just as a kind of something to think about, when you have an ABC pattern, and you can see it kind of almost here too, actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you have an ABC here. So just so you know, when you get into a long position after an ABC on C wave at the top, that's actually very risky. And the reason for it is because if it's a corrective pattern, you're getting in at the worst place. Okay. So just note that. All right. So yeah, again, yeah, probably they'll take equity here, and it'll be interesting to see what they do. Okay. They may sell it off, or they may take it a little higher into this fair value gap here. Okay. So we've got a little bit of resistance here. We got a sweep in equity and a bearish fair value gap here. Okay. So I'd like to see how it responds on that fair value gap. It takes equity out. Okay. And I'm pretty sure it will take equity out. All right. It's kind of a mess. Look at it. It's a messy stock too. I mean, getting in at the right time on a stock like this is important, because even though the trend is up here, you got in here at the wrong time at the top of an ABC, then boom, comes down. All right. So chances are you might have gotten stopped out because it came down significantly. So it's kind of a messy, volatile stock a little bit. So your entry timing's got to be really good on stocks like this. And I kind of think we may sweep that equity and come back down. All right. If we don't, it keeps going up and we get above here. Well, that's great. But by the time it does that, it's already near the top. So this is not a great candidate. Okay. Sorry. All right. Cool. All right. Constant. What does fair value gap and take equity out mean? Oh, well, you should take the not to throw a plug in here, but you should take my price action home study course. And that's exactly what you learn, stuff like that. So a fair value gap is a little different than a normal gap. It requires 3 price bars. And basically you cannot have an overlap on the first and third price bar. And so that gap in between those is your fair value gap. But the important things with fair value gap is you've got to look at the context of where it's happening, because they happen a lot and they have more meaning at certain areas than other areas. Okay. And they can also help you identify order blocks as well. All right. Now, taking out equity is sweeping equity out. So an example, in this example here, let's just look at the weekly chart because it's easy to see. All right. Whenever you have a top or a bottom area that's pretty obvious, anybody short here has probably got stops here. Okay, long-term stops there. Now, you probably had stops here as well, and those were taken out. Okay, but when you have major equities sitting fairly close to where current prices are, all right, the risk of that being swept and then creating a reversal going in the other direction are quite high, because the institutions, what they will do is they will engineer prices to come above here so they can grab people's buy side liquidity here and then run it down again. Okay, so that's kind of the deal with that. So you got to be always suspect on points like that. And if you get above fair value gaps above those, then that indicates a change in trend, and those sweeping areas were nothing but highlights in the uptrend, the highs in the uptrend. Okay. All right. Okay, Gene put a link into that course. Okay, thanks, Gene. All right. So that's it. It's in the chat area, so just go that. All right. Thanks, Constance. It's a good question, but it's also price action, and learning that stuff definitely enhance your trading. All right. Anything else? Once again, a really good session. Okay. All right. And Gene's asking for a like. Okay. All right. Well, listen, everybody, have a great New Year's next week. All right. Safe travels wherever you go. And we'll be back on Friday. All right. So that's, man, time goes so fast. That's the 2nd of January. So we will be here with Stock Analysis Friday then. All right. So have a great week, and happy holidays to everybody out there. All right. So thanks very much. Okay. Have a good one. Bye-bye.